Welcome back. This is Let's Talk Shop at Cat's Craft Corner. I'm Catherine. Thanks for joining me today. I know it's been a while since we last had a podcast, well, a video cast, and it's mainly because after doing half an hour live streaming every day in February for the knitting marathon for Canadian Cancer Society, I was kaput. I was done. And then just some other stuff ended up occurring that really zapped the energy out of me. But we're back, and thank you for tuning in and coming to see what's happening. So first things first, thank you everyone that donated for the knitting challenge for the Canadian Cancer Society. The Cat's Craft Corner team was able to raise $1,480. So that is excellent. Thank you so much. That is definitely more than what we thought we would make. We had to change our fundraising goal twice. So thank you, thank you. What else is going on in the shop is that we will be closed on March 27th, 28th, and 29th, as that is Knit City, Toronto. We will be attending as participants, not as vendors, this year. So if you want to meet up with us there, you're more than welcome to. We'll be doing some streaming from the event on our Instagram and TikTok. So yeah, come say hi, show us all the squishy yarn that you love and the vendors that you're really feeling, because who knows, they could end up in our shop, especially since Knit City Toronto is very focused on Canadian brands as well, so it's right up our alley. What else is going on is that on April 19th we have a needle felting workshop with Megan Cleveland, and it is to do a portrait of a Highland cow. So she provides the instructions, the materials. You come in, it's been like an 8x10, 8x11 type portrait, and you get to stab a whole bunch of wool and fiber to make a beautiful Highland cow. It's on April 19th, which is a Sunday, from 10 a.m. till 4 p.m. You can find more details below, as well as more details on the workshop on our website. So that's super exciting. We're looking forward to that. Also, who doesn't love a Highland cow? We have one in the store that's kind of like our mascot. We got him when we first opened. And other than that, we don't have much more big news, just because we have to hush right now on some releases of information, but it will come out within the next week or two. So you can look forward to seeing that coming out. But yeah, let's get started on talking about whips and FOs. So I will bring over one of the FOs that we actually have kits for in the shop, and we provide you a link to the free pattern. So the finished object I have is the Onigiri pouch. It is made with our Pima Paka cotton, and you save about $10 when you buy the kit off of the 2 skeins. Yeah, it's just 2 skeins, and you'll even have some left over after. And it's a really nice pouch. Stuck a little keychain in there of an onigiri. But yeah, so this is one finished project. It took me maybe 2 days to do, maybe about 8 to 10 hours or so, I guess. But I really enjoy it. It's super cute. Look at it. It's so yummy. But yes, we have the kits on our website, and this is one of our finished objects for this video. But yes, I'm loving this. And you can find the link below to the pattern, even if you didn't want to use our yarn or our kit, so you can still access it below. And I will now go into some personal projects. So I guess I'll start with finished objects. So this one is kind of a 2-in-1. I haven't blocked it yet, but I did my first ever hand spun. I did drop spindling. So this is from Wildly Spun. It is a 22 micron. I'm not sure what sheep base it is, but it is wool. But this is my first hand spun. It's a bit slubby. Let me see if I can get it. Yeah, there, okay. So It's a bit slubby because I did not know how to properly drop spindle or prepare the fiber for drop spindling, but I got it near the end, so that's when you start to see the yarn's a little more consistent. But yeah, so this is my first ever drop spindled hand spun, and I even knitted it up into a cowl. So it's a twice wrap thin cowl that I have not blocked yet, but it's done. I hand spun it. It is comfy, it is soft, it looks super unique and almost classic because it reminds me of like the riverbed bottom of like the different types of grays and dark browns and black pebbles with the water. So it reminds me of that. And I didn't know this, but thank you to Tashi Starlights and I'm forgetting the full name, but it's Starlight and Stitches, I believe. They'll be linked below. And Rachel and Renee from Table 10. I would not have realized that I was prepping my fiber wrong if I had not watched that. Also, there's another person. I'm blanking on it below. I'm sure I'll post the name here. But she does a lot of spinning from shepherd to product. I think she even has her own sheep and llamas on her property, and she's quite popular. So I'll add her information here and below. So what I was doing is I was just taking the braid, undoing the braid, and then just drafting from the braid itself. I didn't break it apart into smaller usable thicknesses. So once I did that, it was way more manageable, way easier to drop spindle, and I wasn't cussing every which way because I couldn't get it thin enough or thick enough to be like a consistent spin. Also, I have discovered that I like to spin with my left hand, which is my less dominant, and I like pulling with my right hand. But this was my first time doing this. Again, wanted to throw it across the room, left it into the naughty corner for a good several months, actually a year. I left it in there for a year. And then during the February knit every day, I decided to give it a try again, and because I had a little more information, it was actually way more enjoyable. So I might give drop spindling another try again, but I guess my drop spindle not being used or really maintained over the last year, the glue has actually dried to a point where the saucer top is shifting, so I have to re-glue that into place in order to use it again. But yeah, so this is my first personal finish. I'm going to take it off because it's a bit warm in here. Well, my personal double finish. And then Sock Madness has started. We're on round 2 of, I believe, 6 or 7. So the qualifying round was actually a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. It was full on color work. So here are my qualifying round socks for Sock Madness. And it has the color work even in the heel, and I'm not sure which type of heel it is, but it is basically a diamond produced from the color work and the heel decreases, and it's just a flap and gusset for this part in color work. But yeah, so this was the qualifying round, and this is called the newspaper socks. So I was not expecting it to be that difficult right out of the gate. And there's also this crocheted surface crochet. So this is not knit in. This is actually crocheted on the latitudinal? The ones that go up and down. Vertical lines of the sock are surface crocheted. So the yarn that I used is Log Cottage House, which is no longer around. I used a one-of-a-kind hand-dyed from Moraf's Yarn and Craft Store in Cape Breton. They are no longer around, but there is Tracy's Rolling Yarn Store in Cape Breton, so that's an awesome store as well. And then I used Val Fibres Luxe Mini, the gold, to add a little bit of shimmer and shine to it. And she's located in the Peel region. So yeah, that is my qualifying round sock, the newspaper sock. And then the actual first round of the competition, I kid you not, beads. Beads were involved with the sock. I will say it again, beads. I have never knitted with beads before or crocheted, and I figured if I was going to do it for the first time ever, it would be on a garment, not a sock. And I also never thought it would be to this extent, especially on a sock. So here's the round 1 sock. I believe it's called the Quasar. I will add who the pattern is written by and the actual name below. But these socks were so difficult to get through. I was probably like the third last person to get their accepted approved socks in to move on to round 2, because these socks I did not want to make. The beads go from the toe all the way up to the cuff. Yeah, that's right. Beads from the toe to the cuff. Insane. However, it does look really, really cool, but it feels really weird on, and I cannot wear shoes with these. The beads on the top part are really cumbersome and uncomfortable. And then there is the added color work on the back part of the leg. Thankfully, no beads. But, you know, if you're going to put beads on the top of the foot here, you might as well have put them on the back here as well, since they're on the front. But I guess you got to draw the line somewhere, right? So this was round 1 of Sock Madness. So, qualifier color work, round 1, beads. They are going pretty hardcore this Sock Madness. So these are my 2 finished objects. Since I think the end of February, beginning of March. It's been 4 weeks, I think, since Sock Madness started, or 3 weeks. So yeah, those are those. And then I also started a few projects at the beginning of the year that I haven't really provided an update on. So we'll get into whips. So continuing with Sock Madness, also I apologize for saying so much. My brain's a little fuzzy. We've been having the false spring and third winter here in Oshawa. The barometric pressure is really messing with my head. I get really bad migraines from it. Anyways, the round 2 socks of Sock Madness, continuing with Sock Madness, dropped today, which is Sunday, March 22nd. They dropped today. And I have... Ooh, I lost my needle. I'll find it later. I have cast it on, and it is actually a really gorgeous lace texture pattern. Let me see if I can get it to focus. Focus, focus, focus. There we go. It's a gorgeous lace textured pattern, and I am enjoying this significantly more. So this is one of my first whips, and it's for Sock Madness round 2. And I'm using, hello, there we go. I'm using Laines Yarns in their Bella base, which is cashmere, merino, and silk. So very bougie, which I think is appropriate because this sock pattern, I'm not big on the title. It's called Pretty Privileges. Yeah, that's a loaded title, eh? But yeah, so the sock pattern is called Pretty Privileges, and I'm using a very bougie base from Laines Yarns, and they are so soft, but they pill like crazy. I am only just knitting with it, and I've come across several little pill bumps, so I'm gonna have to take a gleaner to it. So that is my first whip. The second whip is a part of our make along, and I have only done brioche one other time before this. And I enjoy the process. Like, I'm very much a process knitter. I like to be challenged. I like to see the project come together. So self-striping yarn is really fun for me, same with color work. This project is exhausting. Awesome, but exhausting. So I get through maybe, so it's brioche done flat, so it's 2 passes per row for this brioche. So I get through about 6 passes, which is about 3 rows, and I have to put it down because it takes a lot of brain power to follow the chart and make sure I'm doing the stitches correctly. However, the payout when this is done is going to be absolutely gorgeous. So here is the right side of the Perihelion shawl. Perihelion, okay? It makes me think of a peacock, but I'm also using like a peacock blue and yellow. So this is the Perihelion, the right side. And that's only with section 1 and 2 done. I'm now working on section 3, which is 48 rows. And then here's the wrong side. So it is done like a fan. You start off with almost like a I-cord that you then pick up and then start building off of. So here are the main foundation stitches that started it. And I'm using Pretty Strings yarn in their yak merino based, I believe. Let me double check that. Where did I put the yarn ball band? I might not have it readily accessible. So let me just pull one out of the ball, out of the cake. So it is their Pretty Yak, yeah, their Pretty Yak base, which is merino silk and yak. Wow, I'm kind of going a little bougie on my yarn lately. Huh. Except for the Onigiri is 100% cotton. I'm not sure what the hand spun is, but it's a 22 micron, which is considered a fine to a medium. If I learned anything at the TMU Landmade, that is one thing, the different types of microns actually equal to the type of different weight of wool, whether that's fine, medium, or heavy. And yeah. Well, you know what? Sometimes you deserve to be bougie. I'm being bougie with these ones that are like intense patterns because they take an intense amount of brain power. So bougie. But it looks fantastic, right? So the gold, I believe, is called Anya. So they're all named after her friend, so Anya. And then the blue is actually called Ruby. Again, named after a person. So really lovely bases. I'm loving the Anya. The Ruby does bleed. So there has been several times where I've ended up with almost like a henna imprint on my finger from the yarn bleeding. I also have it in my fun project bag from Pine and Purl. And what can I say? I like animals. And I need to get more yarn, right? Meow. Meow. Okay, that was weird. Sorry about that, that was awkward. But yeah, so Pine and Purl, really fun project bag. Their project bags are pretty witty and they bring a smile to a lot of people's faces, so definitely look them up. So that is my second whip. My third whip I started during February for the knitting challenge, just so I could have a basic stockinette project that was really simple. And it is called the Groovy Maxi dress. So this is the first dress I've ever attempted making. So here it is. I've attached it. Which side is the front? I believe it is the side. So here's the front. And I'm making it in fingering weight in 3 different types of yarn. So I'm using the blue, solid blue, is from Pine and Purl, and it's called Eat Your Bugles. And then let me just triple check that. Yes, Eat Your Bugles from Pine and Purl. And then the gray is from Fireweed Fiber Co. It is their Violet Sock Base, which is a cashmere nylon merino blend. Yeah, it's a NMC, yeah. And it is in their chartreuse gray. And then the multicolored blue, green, teal is specialty dyed for our 2025 year trunk show with Frosted Stitch. So they dyed this color and named it Aurora specifically for our trunk show that they had here at our shop. super fun. I'm excited to see how the different striping works out. So I'm doing about 6 inches of the dark blue, 2 inches of the gray, and then 2 inches of the gray here, and about an inch of the Aurora. So it should be a fun maxi dress when it's done. I believe I am making the size 6. Yeah, I think I'm making the size 6. So anyone that knows me, they know I've been saying I've gotten a little chunky, and that is true. So even if I don't like things to have too much negative ease, I like it to be more on the most negative ease I will do is generally like an inch or 2. So this is not going to be skin tight. If anything, it might have a positive ease of like half an inch. But I'm super excited about it. I do love a good maxi dress, plus you can layer over them, which I'm also looking forward to. So that is in the works. That is going to take me a while. It's kind of like my brainless project when I'm just sitting in front of the TV and just going. I've done the waist decreases and increases, so I'm all set there. But yeah, so that is the Groovy maxi dress. And I'm using the 3 yarns. And I'm using Kollage Square needles. The needle size is US 6 4mm. Yeah, so it's not a super tight gauge, but it's very comfy. And if it does stretch a little, it won't be too noticeable because it already has that loose gauge to it. So it should sit pretty decently like solid even with a bit of stretch. Like it's not too see-through. So that is my 3rd whip. And my 4th whip, and the last time you saw this, it was less done. I had to actually undo it and redo it because I didn't like the gauge sizing that it was kind of producing. So I ended up, no! It came off the needle. No! Save it. Save it, save it. Okay, I saved it. I have to grab my stitch stopper though. It is a moose. Ooh. Moosey, moosey, moosey. It is a moose. And it's from Fox and Pine. Okay, so the last time you saw this, it was a lot less completed. It was a slightly different gauge. But it's still the same size. I believe size 4. And it's the Halmoni jacket. So I have doubled up the yarn, and I'm using the Araucania Aran Kettle dye that we have here in the shop, and I'm doing it in the persimmon. So here it is now. This is the front of the cardigan, and this is the back of the cardigan. It's showing up a lot more orange and not so neon peachy than it actually is, but this is the yarn, the Kettle dyed, and then the saddle shoulder. So it is an all-over cable work sweater, and I believe the designer is Maya. I'm blanking on her last name. I will actually put the correct designer's name here, but I am much happier with how this is turning out. It's building up really fast because it is a thicker yarn. I believe I'm using a US 8. Yeah, US 8 5mm for this one. So this is on the go. It might get finished before the summer, it might not. I'm not 100% sure yet, but we'll see. It is a pretty like bulky, heavy weight. So it's more of like an at-home, not a on-the-go project. But I am excited about this, and I do love the I-cord sort of finish that it's having on the button band side. There aren't any buttons, but it's like a I-cord that's along where you would find a button band for a cardigan. So I am really enjoying that look. And that is my 4th whip and my final one for knitting. I am still working on my Gemini sweater by Crochet Highway. It is at home on my floor laid out because I am connecting it, and it is taking me a little while just because I had to relearn how to connect the squares and the way in which the pattern recommends the order in which you connect it. So that's still in the works. For anyone who was a part of the Gemini sweater make crochet along, I have a feeling we might have to have a part 2 of this crochet along, because I don't believe anyone has actually finished the Gemini sweater that we were making. So I feel like a part 2 would kind of help push us all over the finish line and have them finished. So stay tuned for if that actually happens. It won't be until after our make along that started in February is finished, which ends at the end of April. So it probably won't be till after April if we are to do a part 2. So that's it for knitting. So I'm using Kollage Square needles for the maxi dress and the Halmoni jacket. I'm using Kollage Square needles for the Perihelion, and I'm using the double pointed Kollage Square needles for my socks. And good news, thank you, one of my wonderful patrons, for lending me their 2.25mm cable needles. I am finally able to start the neckband and hem of my Do You Yoke 2 sweater. So I'm hoping if I really hustle, I can have that done for Knit City this weekend. But I would have to seriously hustle. But I'm hoping to have it done so I can wear that sweater as well as the souffle tee from Val Fibres, blocked and finished as well. So it's all knitted up, the souffle tee, but it needs to be blocked. So I'm hoping to have those done by this weekend. Very ambitious, especially since I do have the Socks for Sock Madness still to do. But we'll see. I've done crazier things. Not something I should probably be proud of, but hey. So a non-knitting and non-crochet whip that I have on the go is for our stitch along. The shop started a 16-month stitch along at the beginning of January. We were selling kits for it last year, and it is the Stardew Valley cross stitch, and I've made some significant headway with it. I've gotten some of the Juminos done. You can see one of the ones here, specifically the fun little purple guy. Oh, come on, focus. Ooh. Focus on the Jumino. Oh, it's not gonna focus. I'm sorry about that, guys. But yeah, so that's the little Jumino. And then I've started the 702 DMC color. And this color takes up pretty much most of the map. And then I have my fun needle minder, which is by Chaos and oh, come on. My camera really doesn't want to focus very well. Come on. There we go. So this needle minder is a skull wearing flowers, and it's wood engraved, and it's by Chaos and Threads. You can find them at Black Heart Co Cafe or on their website. They also have an Instagram page. But yeah, so that is my progress on the stitch along. Oh, come on, camera, focus. Woo! Hello. Are we focused yet? No, we're not focused. Well, while the camera figures out how to focus, I'm just going to slowly back up while talking to you awkwardly. And eventually maybe it will unfuzz. But yeah, so that is my cross stitch whip, and I'm still working on my Labrador Retriever cross stitch. It's getting there. It's maybe a third done, so I'm happy about that, maybe half done. But that is all of the whips and all of the kind of like shop updates for right now. Related to social media and YouTube, so many of you have voiced that you would love to see a bit of a personal side on those platforms. So I will be doing more stories that are basically me doing a video chat with myself, like a FaceTime chat with myself, and posting that up on what's going on in the shop, so you can kind of be behind the scenes and connect with me and my ghost staff that is here at the shop. Ghost staff because it's only me, and then sometimes my mom when she looks after the store, which has only happened once. She did great. She made one sale, so go mom. But yeah, so I'll start doing that for Instagram and TikTok, and then repurposing it for shorts on YouTube, and then also by popular opinion demand from the February knitting challenge. A lot of people actually enjoyed the half-an-hour live streams that I did and apparently enjoyed chatting with me. So I will be including a once a week or once every other week. I haven't decided which one I have the capacity for. It'll probably be once every other week, and it'll be Monday mornings at 10:30 till 11 or 11:30, depending on how engaged we all are. And if for some reason you do want a different time of day for the live stream, that can be discussed. Leave it in the comments below. But I am kind of shocked that you guys want to know more about not just the shop but me. I personally prefer everything about the shop and the yarn, so I'll be talking a lot about that. But yeah, I really appreciate it. I appreciate that you find that you can have a connection with me in the shop. It means a lot, especially in the times that we live in now. So just to give you a little background, I used to be extremely extroverted. Like, I would be doing 3 different activities in a day. I would have a schedule packed for the full month and booking further ahead. I'd be going to concerts, events, dinners at friends' houses, sleepovers. Yes, I have adult sleepovers. And COVID came and my social skills went out the window. As you could have noticed with my whole, like, meow moment, my social skills went out the window. And I felt very anxiety-induced by the idea of socializing. So I've been getting better and doing better, and my partner and I moved out here to Oshawa during COVID, halfway through it or so. And all my friends live at least an hour drive away from us, or a 5-hour plane ride away. So 2 of my closest friends are about a 5-hour plane ride away in Alberta, in Calgary and Edmonton. And then my best friend, who's my sister, I've mentioned her before, she actually is the closest living person of, like, my friend group. She's in Pickering, so it's still about a 25-30 minute drive, but then the rest of them are at least an hour because they're downtown. There's, I think, 2 or 3 of them that are downtown. And I've been so lucky to have the community that the shop has because they are becoming my friends. Like, I've met a few of their kids, I've celebrated their birthdays with them. It's really been good for my soul, especially since I used to be very extroverted, and that was a way that I filled my bucket. So this is now a way that I can fill that bucket and feel connected and necessary. So I forget what the Japanese term is. I will add it here. But there's actually a view on how to go about life. So it's not what you want to be or where you're going so much in life, but it's generally a mindset of asking, how can you be useful to someone today? Like, who can you be useful to? And it doesn't have to be anything big. It can just be holding the door open for someone or saying hi to your neighbor. And it's more finding joy and purpose in the small acts of every day, because there is a notion, an idea that us as humans, we really are purpose driven. And so having to get up the next morning is easier when you have that single easy entry sort of purpose of who can you be useful for today as your purpose, or even just like a small act. So for me, one of my big things is I like a slow morning. I am very slow to get going. I'm a morning person, but I'm slow to move. So I like at least an hour, hour and a half to have 2 cups of coffee, read a bit of my book, do my 20 minutes of SAD light if it's that time of the year, and cuddle my animals, and just kind of meditate and feel how my body's feeling. Like, that morning routine is huge for me, and I look so forward to it every day. So I actually like getting up so that I can have that moment in the morning. It's my form of that purpose of tomorrow. So I forget where I was going with this, but coming back to the community of Cat's Craft Corner, that is a part of my now purpose, is that I want to continue growing the community and being there for the community. So yeah, the fact that you guys want to be a part of a community with me, I am thrilled. So thank you, because I believe that's how this all started. But yeah, thank you. Anyways, if you enjoyed this and you want to see more about what's going on in the shop, what kind of yarn we're bringing in, what whips, finished objects I'm working on a personal level, please come subscribe, like this video. We also have set up a Ko-fi account. So as a small business, every little bit helps. I know not everyone always wants to buy yarn or new notions or tools, but if you do want to show support to the shop and this channel, please consider buying us a coffee. All information is listed below. We also have an Ravelry community where we would love to see your projects that you're working on. And yeah, we look forward to growing and strengthening the community of Cat's Craft Corner with you and with the fiber community. Well, see you later. Next time we chat, it will be after Knit City Toronto, and I'm sure there will be tons to talk about. Woo! Alrighty, have a great day, and enjoy the third winter, almost true spring.